Well guys, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys coming back and following up on some of my projects. Today we are working on this thing. This is a 1950 Chevy Deluxe, and we talked about it a little bit before. It's got a lot of wiring issues that we have to deal with. I'm not going to say issues yet. They're not, because I haven't gotten the thing to actually like turn on and go through all the wiring, I don't actually know what's wrong with it. If there is anything wrong with it, it might work just fine. Unfortunately, it's not the cleanest wiring, but it obviously worked at one time. Got the batteries charged up, stuff like that. We got the shift cable pulled out a couple of days ago. Got the new one ordered. It's here now. I had an ignition switch on order. It showed up and it fell out of the box in pieces. Woohoo! So I gotta wait for another one to show up. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get the shift cable put back in this thing right now and try to get this thing fired up hopefully today with just some jumper wires and see what's actually wrong with it, if there's anything wrong with it. I do know a few things that we have to work on, like the passenger side window doesn't roll all the way down. It goes down and like hits a stop. So I think something came loose inside, like the track or like the bumper or something like that. Something inside the door panel came, inside the door is impeding the window going up and down. So we got to pull the door panel off, check that out. Just little things like that we're going to try and fix on this thing and make it drivable again for the owner. Try and get it back to him. I've already had it way too long and I feel bad. I'm sorry it's taking this long. It's just with regular life getting in the way, the stuff that we're normally doing, you know, normal work, and then also car shows and stuff like that. It's just, I've let things get past me really bad and I'm not happy about it. But regardless, we're working on this thing right now. We'll get to shift cable, window, stuff like that today. And then, and then we have a 1952 Chevy Stepside to work on. I'm not sure if I put it on the channel or not. It's a decently built truck from originally back in the day. Long story short, we bought it as what was already like a 90s built, like a lot of billet, a lot of tweed, stuff like that. So we redid it. The entire floor and firewall was rusted. Unfortunately, this is back before I did any YouTube or any filming. I have a few pictures I'll throw in to kind of like give you guys the idea, but I replaced the entire front firewall, the 45-degree kicker, and then the whole floor on this truck. Like the entire bottom of the cab is brand new because it was completely rusted out. Like you could just put your hand right through it. It wasn't even there. Well, it's got a TBI motor in it right now, and it's not the best motor. It doesn't run right. The computer never worked properly in it. It's got a turbo 400 trans that, oddly enough, if you hook up the vacuum for the shift solenoid, or the modulator, the shift modulator, it would make all kinds of weird noises. Like it'd shift differently and make all kinds of weird noises. So I don't know what's up with inside the trans. I'm not gonna get into that. We actually picked up this motor a while back. Now again, this is just a plain old 5.3. Oh, this has got the TIG torch on it. This is just a plain old 5.3 2002 truck motor. Nothing special. So been tearing into the wiring, got it all torn apart and whatnot and gone through, and oh boy, it's been a long process. I've never done my own wiring harnesses, and this is actually, as bad as it sounds, this is my first LS swap I've ever done. So it's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve, but we're gonna try and get it done as fast as we can. And I know I say that all the time, but we're actually gonna try and get this done as fast as we can. So I'm hoping I can have this thing swapped in the truck and like running within like a week. So right now it's the beginning of the week. We do gotta work on this thing a little bit just to get it out of the way. And fortunately, like I say, I can't do a whole lot until ignition shows up, things like that, but we can jumper wire stuff for now. So right now we're gonna get after this car and shift cable and window fixed. Oh boy, talk about wiring disaster. Even just sitting here getting ready to put stuff back together. Got the shift cable put in. I just happened to look down. I saw some wires that it was showing wires like they had, you know, scuffed or whatever. The sheathing off. Well, come to find out, the wiring harness was laid under the carpet, and when they put the center console in, they decided they were going to put screws through the bottom of the cup holders right here, just straight down. Well, what that did was Not sure if we can get this thing in focus or whatnot, but here, I'm gonna turn this guy on. Not sure you can see, but it took out wires here, here, here. Like all this stuff has got shaved wires or, oh my gosh, dude, look at that. Oh, wow. Look at that one right there. So all these wires were crossing out and sparking or whatever. And it was all because the screw went through. Ouch, let me see if I can pull the cup holder out here. The screw went through the bottom of the cup holder like that. And that's how they held the cup holders in. Wow. And the other hole's right over here for the other cup holder. Woo, boy. So I'm gonna have to get in here and splice all these wires and tape them all up, make sure they're still good. Woo. Ouch. That's what I mean when I say wiring disaster. Not to mention what's underneath the hood of this thing. Like, it's a wiring nightmare. But hey, again, not trying to reinvent the wheel. Clean it up the best I can, make it work. But I think we found a lot of wiring problems. Or a wiring situation. Oh boy, man, this just keeps getting deeper and deeper. So one of the things I did was got the seat pulled out of the car, get me some more room to work underneath, started getting the steering column out, and the cruise control switch, the button goes down on in, which is cool. Like, it goes down on in, goes down, goes up through this little hole right here, which is fine. So to get the steering column out, you have to undo the steering linkage, or the steering shaft, the U-joints, because this has a rack and pinion in it. So I pull I pull both the set screws out of the U-joint that clamps to the steering column. So the big double D, I think it's 1 inch double D. Pulled those out. Pulled on the steering column, thought it was coming out. Well, it did, but it took, and it undid the one all the way down at the rack and pinion down there. So apparently that set screw was never tightened, was never put in properly, whatever, because there's the other one right here. And if we go inside, it came through the firewall. So now I still have to get this thing off. Like, ouch. Like, it's right there. Look at this nightmare. Oh my gosh. What did I get myself into? Oh boy, man. This is like opening Pandora's box of wiring. This is such a joke. Oh my God, just trying to get the stuff out from underneath the dash, and you've got a whole cluster of relays down here, and the fuse panel, just, oh my God, man. This is a freaking wiring nightmare, man. Some people should not be allowed to even do this. All right. We opened Pandora's box. We got to keep going with it. Try and get it at least somewhat correct. So this is one of the things I just have to show you guys. Like I say, I can't stress the disaster enough in this thing. But this is like one of the simple things I have to show you guys. So like, this was plugged into something underneath here, some random wire that had power to it, I guess. So there's one single fuse here. Then it goes in and it splits off 3 different ways. It splits off to this guy, which goes to its own fuse. Splits off to this guy right here, which has its own fuse. And then splits off to this guy right here, comes on over, and it has its own fuse. And all these 3 things take off and go different spider web, whatever, noodles everywhere, all over this mess. And this whole thing was plugged into something that was already fused. So literally there was a fuse on a fuse to protect 3 fuses. It's mind-boggling how many splices there are in everything in here. Like, I pulled out one wire, I'd have to dig it out again and try and find it. I found 6 splices in about 20 inches of wire that had it added onto or stuff like that, or it had been cut and redone. 3 of them were just wires twisted together with electrical tape. 1 of them was soldered with electrical tape, and 2 of them were butt connectors that weren't even like crimped properly. And that was all within like 20 inches of a straight piece of wire. This is astounding to me that this thing didn't burn to the ground. It is absolutely astounding to me. Whew, man. I mean, we'll get back after it, I guess, but I just had to show you guys that. This is the kind of stuff that you find in some people's cars, where somebody that doesn't have any clue, or for that matter, multiple people that get in and start working on stuff that don't have an idea of what's going on, this is what it ends up being. Horrible, horrible. So, my brand new ignition shows up, and remember I was telling you guys the other one was like fall apart, all the pieces came out of it? Well, look at this. Like, oh my gosh, dude, the quality of stuff these days is absolutely astounding to me. I can't get no good parts no more, man. Wow, boy. Alrighty guys, it's another day, next day in the shop. We got the 50 moved over. We still have to work on the wiring. You saw that cluster. But one of the things we have to do is we got to start doing this freaking engine swap in this truck. So this is a 1952 Chevy, and I'm almost positive I did a little bit on a different video about this thing. Needless to say, this has got like a 93-ish, 92 or 93 Chevy center bolt, like Vortec motor. And it's a good running motor when it runs. Unfortunately, this has like a really weird computer. This is all OBD1. It hasn't ran right, even in the truck we got it, like when we got this motor. It's connected to a Turbo 400, and that transmission's not working right. So anyway, it's coming in right now, and we're gonna do that swap that we've been talking about, that 5.3 and the 4L60. So this guy right here is coming on in. And like I say, I started doing some stuff before I started filming. Sorry about that, it's my bad. Just a quick pressure wash, knock off the dust. But it is time to bring it in and get to getting on it. So hopefully here in a couple of days, we'll be out rolling this thing around, and maybe we'll call this a shop truck for a little bit. See how it does. Let's get inside. Well guys, we went ahead and got the truck pulled in. It's on the lift right now. Well, it's where the bay for the lift is. It's got to dry off a little bit. I don't want water dripping on me as I up underneath it. So while that thing's drying, I came out here, started working on the rear end for my buddy Chuck, lives up the end of the street here. It had spring perches on it like yonder. And unfortunately, they are, for his application, they were 1 inch or 1.5 inches, 2 inches, something like that. They were too wide. The actual spring perch, the spring center to center, width-wise was too wide. So this rear end had to get those things cut off. I'm gonna go ahead and tear the backing plates off of it, pull the axles out of it. I'm gonna grind the whole thing up because he's gonna go through the whole rear axle. He's gonna buy brand new spring perches. We have to set the whole car up at his house. Ride height, drive shaft in it, put pinion angle in it, everything like that, clamp it all down, and then we'll tack the new spring perches in. And then that way we can pull the rear end back out. I can weld them up fully, and he'll have a perfectly set rear end for his car. I believe it's a 70 or 71 or 72 Nova. So, cool. One more thing on the list we got to get done. You know, obviously wiring, and that thing will be up on the lift. Hopefully we'll get the motor and trans pulled today. That's the goal. So, see you guys. Well, we finally got the old truck up on the lift and actually like set up. It's been sitting outside for a long time. You can see the amount of cobwebs, just like, oh my God. There's cobwebs everywhere underneath here. Yeah, my bad. It's been sitting outside for a long time, not being used. Oofta. Oh, wow. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna get underneath here with a broom and get all these cobwebs out, and we'll start pulling drive lines, start dropping trans, getting motor and tranny out. Now, get the swap done. Alrighty guys, well, we got tranny out, that's done. We are now draining power steering fluid. Trying to get all that stuff drained on out. I'm gonna pull motor mount bolts right now and start draining coolant. And we will have this motor out in no time. So hopefully it's gonna happen tonight. If not, well, it'll be in the morning, but it started kind of late in the afternoon. So anyway, we're gonna get after this. If all goes well, we should have this thing pulled by tonight. See what happens. Alright guys, so just as a quick little kind of thing I just saw, this truck with this motor and trans combination has literally been on the road for probably less than 5 gallons of gas. Probably less than 2 gallons of gas. That's how little this truck has been driven since this combination was put together. Like, it just never got worked out. But my gosh, dude, I just happened to pull off the upper radiator hose and look how much junk is in the thermostat. Oh, wow. My gosh, dude, there is like a pile down inside there. Huh. Now, I know there's always sediment and stuff like that that goes through the cooling system, but that's enough to stick like a thermostat and stuff like that. So this was just never meant to be. Well guys, we had some family come into town that I didn't know was coming, so we're gonna call it a day today. We got a bunch of stuff done. We got a bunch of fluids drained, power steering, fuel, all the water, stuff like that. AC lines are disconnected. Luckily enough, I never charged the AC in this thing just because it never ran good enough to like fully say it's done kind of thing. So I don't have to worry about like evacing the AC or anything like that. It was all a brand new system that just never got charged. Transmission got pulled, exhaust is all done, drive shaft, all that stuff's done. So tomorrow morning we should be able to have this motor pulled out pretty quick. Shouldn't be too bad. Hopefully, and this is just me hoping, by tomorrow afternoon, that motor right there will be in the truck. I want to try and kind of get this motor all put together like on the ground with the whole computer set up, and I actually I want to like tune it or at least delete the VATs and like ground fired or dry fired or whatever you want to call it. I want to get that set up before it goes in the truck, but it is what it is. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, we're back at it again. We got the cherry picker brought in. We got everything unhooked in the truck. Computer's all pulled out of it. All the wiring is just laid on top. The only thing we have to do now is, heck, even engine mounts. The bolt that goes to the engine mount, those are even like disconnected. So the motor's just sitting in there right now. So all we got to do, lower this thing back down, move the water bucket out of the way, get the chain put on it, and pluck this thing out. Let's get this motor out. Just for poops and giggles, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the radiator out and get the condenser out of here, just so that way motor going in and out, I don't bump into it and poke a hole. It's a brand new radiator and a brand new condenser. There's no reason to wreck them. It's only taking me a few minutes to get this stuff out. Might as well just get out of the way. we got it pulled, guys. This was a really good motor, like could still be a really good motor. Just the computer and the wiring harness, this thing was really jacked up when we got it. So, and I'm not about to put a bunch of time and energy into old technology when the LS stuff these days is so much better. So we are gonna get this thing pulled out all the way outside, the truck picked up, and set this thing off to the side. Don't need it. Well guys, we're gonna call this the end of the video. Unfortunately, I did not get the motor put back in. It's still sitting here on the ground. We'll get to it next week sometime. We've got some stuff we gotta go take care of today, and I gotta get my butt inside to start editing this video for you guys for tomorrow morning, which will be Sunday morning. Like I say, as you can see, this is where we're at with this project. It'll get going pretty quick here pretty soon. The this guy, I mean, you see what that whole thing entails. Well, we got a lot of stuff we got to work out on this, and again, this is kind of a side project. But I only have a couple hours a day, if that, to spend on it. So that one's taking a little bit longer than it really needs to. And like I say, it's been here for too long already. So do need to get my butt in gear on that one. But if you guys like what you're watching, please think about subscribing if you haven't already done that. If you have, thank you guys so much. It's very humbling to me to think that you know people out there are actually like paying attention and watching and taking the time out of their day to watch what I'm doing. So I really appreciate it. If you guys like it, hit the like button for me, please. It helps out the algorithm and the analytics and stuff like that for me, and it grows the channel a little bit more. Please, guys, comment. I love reading all the comments from you guys. I really do. It's pretty crazy to see all around the world and stuff like that, people that take time out of their day and comment, stuff like that. I really appreciate it. So if you guys are following with these projects, I appreciate it more than you guys know. We've got some other projects we're going to be bringing in here pretty soon too. We're bringing the Blazer back to the channel. That's going to happen in the next couple of weeks because it's been way too long sitting in storage, and I was like this close to getting it done. So like done. That's coming back. We have another boat we're going to probably start working on here pretty soon too, a little mini boat. I've got golf cart stuff that I got to work on too. So there's a lot more stuff in the works. But as for this week, we're going to call this one over, and I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for watching.